Hey, Chris and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry. Subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.
Okay, and we're live.
We're live. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Honestly, I thought you were playing with us and seeing how long it took for one of us to say something.
One day I should do that. Not even play the intro. I should just leave it on and just see what happens.
And we'll all just be sitting here doing whatever, you know. And everybody like, hello.
Very big brother.
Right?
So how are you guys?
Happy to be reunited with you guys.
Yeah, it's been a little minute.
Just a little bit.
But we had
Like-
Chris live last week, which had been even longer a minute. So
Oh my gosh. You know what? I popped up my time hop yesterday.
Uh-huh.
The first time I was a guest on here.
Oh,
A year ago. And I was like, oh,
That's awesome.
That's fun.
how times have changed in a year.
Yeah. For
Ain't
sure.
that the truth?
Yeah, so how are you, Ryan?
I'm good. Tired. These overnights are killing me slowly, but you know. Other than that, I'm good though.
Yeah, that's good. I was commenting so everybody can see Ryan in this nice blue color, how great he looks in this blue.
Oh, thanks.
You'd be popping.
It matches
it's
my
popping.
glasses and my eyes. You
I know. He's just popping.
Thank you. Don't make me blush now. I'll turn off my camera. I'll do it.
So, quick and dirty. Oh, just overall, what were your first thoughts of this episode? Good, bad, ugly, whatever.
Confused.
Okay.
I enjoyed it because it had one of my favorite scenes of this show so far, and we'll talk about that later. Renee had already touched upon it in the pre-show, but I enjoyed it. I think it did a lot. I think it did a lot for storytelling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was so much information in this episode. Like, lots of little tidbits and things that, we got quite a bit of information in this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll just start out with the beginning there when they arrive in Angers and they meet this conductor as Daryl is still searching for a radio and his I guess his expressions and when he finds out about these radios, they're just getting more hilarious as it goes, because it's important to him, and every time it's just like a dead end, but it just gets crazier and crazier each time. So, Isabel brings him to Angers to the conductor where he's supposed to have a radio. And he does. He has a radio, but he has stripped it down to the parts to create something much different.
It's not what I was expecting. I'll tell you that much.
You know what though? It definitely had that signature Greg Nicotero creepy horror vibe. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like when I saw like the one, like he had the one in the back next to the drums, and its like stomach like was like stretched out, and it almost looked like this like crazy looking like spider zombie. Like it was the first thing I thought was, Nicotero was sitting there going, yeah, that's the stuff.
That gave me Stranger Things vibes.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
You know what? It reminded me of in The Walking Dead when Ezekiel found Princess and she had them all like the marionettes.
Exactly. I wrote that in my article. I was like, because I wrote the article saying that Luke would be proud of him, of the conductor.
Yes.
As I was like, wait a minute. And Princess, then I added that in because I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. She made all those little dioramas or whatever.
I had a laugh at the trombones coming out of their stomachs. What was it? Not a trombone, trumpets. Whatever it was. I was like, oh, okay.
And my favorite was the drummer. His hands were like in these little fists and boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. It was just, and I know this had nothing to do with the plot, nothing at all, but it was fabulous. And I know there were a lot of people complaining, oh, this didn't, whatever. loved it.
It felt like a video game side quest, kind of like, oh, here, you're supposed to go on the main plot, but we're gonna detour. And sometimes you need that extra just piece of chaos just to help. Not even like, how can I phrase this? It just helps makes the episode better at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was great.
And I think it's realistic too, because in the apocalypse, you're going to have all sorts of people, and people respond to trauma and stress very differently, and people in situations like that are going to snap. I mean, we saw it with like the cannibals, we saw it with so many other groups in all the shows, and people respond to it very differently, and if that's what caused that guy the conductor to snap like that, and that's how he finds his entertainment. It's fucked up. But if that's how he finds entertainment, it's very realistic that something like that could happen.
And we also have to think that a lot of these people are mental health patients off their meds.
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
I mean, my daughter brought that up. I was like, wow, that is a really good point.
And
no
he
antidepressants,
so proud of it
no lithium, nothing.
Oh, he was so proud. He was so proud he could speak English to Daryl. That he was like that was like showing that off. And yeah. So Chris said he would have killed the weirdo musician guy. No way, man.
No.
That man is living his best life. Let him do what he's got to do.
Can we hire you for entertainment? Do you do kids parties? Like,
do you do appearances or?
I still find it funny that he was still conducting, and Daryl and they just sneak out, and they're just like.
Daryl is so done. Yeah, he's like, and that's when he walks out. This side quest was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's like, that's it. We're doing it my way. Daryl just over all of these people, just making his life difficult.
As soon as I heard the music playing, though, I was like, oh no, this is not good. Like I was just like, how loud, like how soundproof is this room right now?
Yeah.
Cut to the outside and you just see him like, oh
no, I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, here we are.
You know what I'm surprised we haven't seen in The Walking Dead yet is an artist who uses like the Walker blood and guts to make paintings.
Ooh, that's a good one. That could be a very French theme, I think.
You know what I mean?
And Paris is very artistic city.
Imagine you have like an artist making these paintings, and like he goes into the Louvre and takes down the Mona Lisa and puts up like one of his paintings. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be comical.
That'd be perfect.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Chris said it'd be awesome until he lets those things out, but I don't think those things can get out. They're stuck to. They've got instruments in them, and they've got
their hands are taped.
Yeah, they're like
The good news, if they do break out, you'll definitely hear them coming.
Yeah.
So you can definitely get away.
But they're drawing all the rest of them along with
That's true.
So that could be a bad thing. Anyway, it was an entertaining. I thought it was wonderful and of course very weird and whatever, but I liked it and I thought it was really cool. And just to show you how people can get, and then you get to then after that scene, then they start making their way to Paris then, and I loved seeing Laurent see the Eiffel Tower. Like he was just that was exciting for him to see that, and so I thought that was really cool just because he's never been, he's lived in the Abbey probably his whole life, probably his entire life. And so I thought that was really neat to see that. And Daryl's like, welcome home to the girls, because they lived there previously. So it was like,
I feel like the Eiffel Tower is going to play a bigger part in the last few episodes, because I know I don't mean to fast forward. We're going to go right back.
Mm-hmm.
But when he talks to the singer and he mentions the necklace. So that's why I was like, something to remember.
Yeah. Well, because he has the picture, so he has a picture of his mom. Now he knows that's his mom, okay, she's standing there, that little necklace. Yeah. He I loved how he was talking to, I know we're jumping, but whatever, it's fine. But
we do that all the time.
Talked about the rivets, how many rivets were in it, and all these things, these tidbits that he knew, that no one else would. Oh yeah.
Talking like a 50-year-old man.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, did you know?
Welcome to.
Yeah. So I thought that was really neat. And then, but one of my favorite parts is when they're in the cemetery and I hear the first like two notes of People Are Strange, and I know that's what.
I knew you went crazy.
And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And then it's a French cover. I was like, oh my gosh.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then
good. No, God.
Just that Daryl then sees Jim Morrison's grave, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
It added a sense of like humanity to it. Like it kind of really helps it connect to the real world.
Yeah.
Because we had like oh God, what was his name in a real life? Half Moon.
Oh yeah, Beta.
Ryan Hurst's character.
Yeah.
They had him as like a fake artist.
Yeah.
So this is like one of the first times, maybe even the first, where they really referenced a real life musician.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that was really awesome.
Yeah, so I thought that was just really neat. And Laurent was talking about a poet or a fable writer, I believe it was, or something, a writer or something like that's buried there. And I did some research, and there's several famous people buried there, actually. But he was telling his story, so it just kind of fit right in. Like he's telling Daryl this about this fable and all of this, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, look, there's Jim Morrison's grave," And so it was just a fun little pop culture thing that I thought was really great that they added that in.
Yeah.
Oh, you being the music lover, remember that show? It was only like 13 episodes that Lauren Cohen left Walking Dead for. That where she played like the spy.
Yeah.
In like one of the very first episodes, there was, I think it was either German or French cover of Paint It Black.
Oh, how cool.
It was
Cavalier.
It's one of my
Cavalier.
Whiskey Cavalier.
Yes, there you go. So something,
okay. I'm gonna look it up after the show, but oh my god, you will love this cover. It's brilliant.
Anyway, back to a good cover, especially when it's a good cover in a different language. It's even better.
It was I had to find it for you.
Yes. So anyway, that was just one of my favorite parts, just because of the music and the Lost Boys and blah blah blah. Jim Morrison, and all that. So that was very cool. Just anyway,
when Daryl said, "Oh, go ahead."
No, just please go ahead.
No, when you had mentioned before about Welcome Home, did you notice as soon as he said Welcome Home, there was like kind of like that three-quarter top-down shot of like the street. Mm-hmm. It very reminiscent of Atlanta in the pilot.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like picking more of those up as the as the episodes go along. And I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, stop like relying on it to kind of
but I just
Easter
think
egg, though.
But I think they just do to keep it familiar for the diehard fans. They gotta have. You have Daryl, but that's literally it. So I think it may seem tired, but at the same time, they're just trying to, I think, keep those familiar pieces like they did in Dead City. There were little things that helped those people feel familiar, where someone had asked, could I watch this without watching anything else? Yeah, you can totally, you can watch Dead City without watching The Walking Dead.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. And so I think that was last week's episode or last week, our podcast or whatever. And you totally can. But then for the diehard fans, they're just throwing those little Easter eggs. Just to help, just that comfort, oh yeah, okay.
Actually, there was an Easter egg from Dead City in tonight's episode too.
Oh, what was that?
Are you talking about the walkers falling out of the building?
Yeah, okay. That's I wasn't sure.
That was my favorite part of Dead City. So
I know everybody. I don't know what it is about that, but it's just awesome to see those guys just
flying
out of
walkers. I kind of want to go rewatch that episode.
Yeah, especially Negan's reaction. That was outstanding. So that was really good. And then then we meet Fayu finally. We've been seeing him in teasers and everything, and I've been so excited and I'm very intrigued by his character. He is like, I just feel like he's so poetic when he talks. And obviously he's the leader of this community who are part, they're still part of the Union of Hope kind of thing, but their community, he said 64 people with the new birth, they had a baby born or whatever. I think it was 64 people or 60, something like that. But I don't know, there's something about him. He just seems like he's a very good leader, and their community seems very well ran, and they've got, so I'm hoping he plays a bigger part than what we just, he was pretty integral in this episode, but I hope he has a bigger part going forward.
I definitely think he will, because the fact that he kept popping up.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't kill him off before this show ends.
Let's see him in season 2. We need to see
please, somebody make it to season 2 of the spinoff. That's all I ask.
Or they can just do like they did with the kids at the school. Just move on to the next phase, let him live, and we'll move on, because
there you go.
I'm liking that aspect of this, how they're, kind of they kind of pattern that after like some of the 80s, early 80s the series where the main character has this thing in this episode with these people and we never see them again. He moves on the next episode to the next thing, that whatever it is,
Yeah.
And I
leaves
like
it open-ended.
Yeah, because okay, he's and there's people that he encounters along the way. Either he influences them or they influence him, or there's some give and take there somehow, and I really like how they're doing that. And Greg, I think it was Greg Nicotero that mentioned that that's kind of the pattern they're trying to do with this, which it's much better than season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead, where we meet these great new people and they die before the end of the episode. It was just sad because there was some really characters who had really good potential. They could have been really cool, but they killed them. So,
and at least now, if they decide, oh, you know what, we met this character in season 1, I feel like they might be a really good fit for this random episode in season 2, they could bring them back.
Yes, exactly.
I think they're really learning from their mistakes, especially with the way that everybody was getting mad at Dead City. So hopefully they're changing their ways.
I like Pie's comment. A Walking Dead show that doesn't have to kill off everyone. What an amazing concept!
Yeah, wow,
it's unheard of.
That's why I'm like, I hope they don't start killing off characters that we like, that we're starting to like actually learn about, just like they did in Dead City with Tommaso and.
I know, because I thought that
what I was getting.
Yeah, because people were very upset with that.
Better.
Yeah, because I thought that group could have been really cool. I mean, they could have really been something, but that's not the way they do things. So I'm glad that we've got French writers and all this new blood in Daryl Dixon that's trying to shake things up a little bit.
I do have to say it does help that I know there's subtitles, but it does help that I understand French. Because
I can pick enough out of it.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know, I'm getting the gist of what they're saying.
Yeah,
I don't have to read
I need to watch the subtitles even when they're speaking English.
Yeah,
and I hate subtitles. So I'm like, it's like Squid Game all over again.
Yeah, yeah, and then this goes. Pi has been talking about this because she likes the actor. So the pigeon guy, So then we get to Fayu, and we're like, oh, he has a radio also, and they're like, eh. And then Daryl's expression. Are you flipping kidding? He's like, Isabel was all, oh, we have a radio. Oh, I forgot to get a new battery. Now we have one, but we took the parts out of it. And now this guy, his radio is pigeons, which I understand is a great concept, a great use because it works, but not for what Daryl's thing is.
Back in a week, a month.
Yeah. Daryl's like,
a month?
Fake. And so what's Ryan thinking? He's got this look.
Yeah.
No, I'm reading Linda's comment. Don't mind me.
Oh.
The last one that she put.
I don't understand this.
Oh, I don't know what she's meaning.
I don't need. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Why did that remind me of The Lion King with Zazu?
Oh, you all didn't understand the Zazu thing. He was very, very upset about it. Please explain, Linda, because I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm not.
Yeah,
sure.
I would love to know what you mean by that. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll wait to see if she replies. She said she wrote a big note to AMC Angela Kang about it. So now I'm really interested in to see what. So we'll wait we can continue on here till maybe she answers the question.
Pie's comment about Dominique, is that Falu or Fulao? However.
No, he is the pigeon guy, which was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's that pigeon man. So I can't remember what she said. If she said that I think he was in something else that she's watched before. And so
I think that's what was said.
She was familiar with him. So,
okay.
Yeah, but I think he's great. I love it with his pigeons. He's so happy about his pigeons. So I think it's really great.
I mean, they're cute.
Yeah. And I mean, they do serve the purpose for where they're at, but like Daryl, his stuff is a little more urgent, which brings up a topic. Mm-hmm. So I was doing another podcast with my friend Diana, Screens in Focus, if you want to check it out. And we go over the episodes every week there as well. She brought up, so we talked about Relishing the Dead had mentioned, I don't know if you knew this, Meg, but they mentioned that the way Carol gets to France is that she's stowed away on the ship.
Oh.
And I'm like, genius, because how it took 3 years to get that ship ready, so how are we getting Carol? So their theory is she saw Daryl. I guess I kind of expounded on it, but like if Carol would have seen Daryl being put on this ship, unwillingly, she would have done whatever she could. So their theory is that she stows away and Daryl doesn't know she's on there and then goes over. But then, Daryl gets off, we think an explosion. We don't know for sure. We've seen pieces. So we think some sort of an explosion. Obviously, the ship's kind of destroyed and all that. We did that in first episode. So then Daryl goes off, but Carol's still on the ship. Okay. So then that's what they're kind of, speculating that could be how they introduce her in season 2. But Diana came up with another thing. Why is Daryl so urgent to get back to the ship? Does he know Carol's on there? And I was like, oh my gosh, what? Because he's so determined.
Maybe they were on the ship
That's
together,
a man on a mission.
and they got they got separated.
And he got separated, right? Like he knew she, maybe she stowed away or whatever, got on the ship, which I still think is a genius. I think that's brilliant. She stowed away, but then Daryl found, somehow they connected on the ship. It's not that big of a ship. And he does know, but they got separated now because, they're after him. The explosion happens. He has to get off and has no time to save Carol. So she goes on to the port.
Yeah.
And they have her. And Daryl knows it. So that's why he's so urgent to get, because it seems more than just, I need to get back home.
Right.
He's so push kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I thought that was a really neat. So now my brain,
and you know what? That's actually a brilliant, because I just had like an epiphany.
Yep.
That's a brilliant explanation. Like if it winds up happening, because really it makes up for the fact that we don't see Carol in season 1 due to Melissa's obvious reasons. And if that happens and we start off season 2 with her, they can really reshoot some of the scenes and show it from her perspective. And I love those kind of things, like when the two they interact.
Yep.
That would be brilliant and an epic way to show, okay, Melissa's here or Carol's here to stay.
So
that'd be so cool.
There's your brain cannon for the night.
As if today wasn't crazy enough. Oh my gosh.
And I just love it when we have these multiple podcasts that are interacting, or they're not even interacting, but they're playing off each other's ideas, and it all just fits together.
Imagine if we had one giant I don't think we can do that one live.
So anyway, that's what we talked about on our podcast. That I think it'll be out on Friday. I think she'll post it on Friday. She that's where she mentions it. And that when we go over this episode.
Please send me the link to that.
Okay, I will. But so anyway, that's just that's get you thinking there. So all right, so we got the pigeons. Daryl's rolling his eyes, whatever, these freaking pigeons. And then we're seeing these little things that shows Laurent's gifts or whatever is happening. He goes to that lady who was unconsoled with the death of her husband, understandably, but he is able to console her where no one else could. Why? I just love seeing this because it's slowly unfolding, and eventually we're going to find something, whether it's this season or next. I don't know. That'll probably give us a huge cliffhanger for this season, which is fine. But it's just, and I love how Daryl is really starting to watch him. He's not believing this at all. He's like, this is bullcrap,
It's a regular kid.
Yeah. It's just this kid, and why are you putting so much pressure on him to be this person and blah, 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 but Isabel, Sylvie, they all believe, they truly believe this. Fayu, like when he saw him, he was like, we have waiting a long time to meet you. And because we don't know how old he was when that monk visited the abbey and then said that he fulfilled a prophecy, which we don't know what that prophecy is, but he believes that. So, they're all believing in this. And sometimes it is just that belief and hope. Especially in an apocalypse, you
hang on to anything.
Exactly. So, we'll see what happens with him, but it's just really fun to watch it play out to whatever it ends up being. But one thing I'm noticing is just how Daryl is reacting to this as he sees these things, and what will eventually happen with him, So anyway, I thought that was just really neat to see that another little piece. He's mentioned to Daryl, he said the exact words that Judith said. How did he say those exact words? We mentioned that last week.
Yep.
It's like literally, like what? How did and he says he feels it in his stomach. He felt Daryl's sadness. And again, I don't know what that means. I have no, I don't know, what that means, but it's just really fun to watch it play out.
Yep. Oh, and to Linda's point, by the way, she said, I don't know how to pronounce it, Zizou.
Mhm.
I remind you, is the greatest living legend of French football or soccer. We have just associated this to pigeon, which also means idiot, stupid, naive. It's an insult to be a pigeon in France. It means everything except a good thing. So Zizou being a pigeon, it's so bad, very bad.
So it's insulting to Z. Oh, so calling the pigeon Zizou is an insult. Okay.
Mm.
Which is weird because, I mean, French people wrote this. So, it's odd that they would do that if that's
Yeah.
such an insult. Yeah.
If it was like American AMC writers, I'd understand
Right,
it,
that-
because for us,
absolutely.
it's not an insult. It's like,
Yeah.
you like a lot of people name their pets after people they admire.
Yeah, exactly.
For us, so like that I could see that being an American thing,
Mhm.
but because it's French writers, I'm very confused that they wouldn't have picked up on that.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I mean, it's this series is heavily created by people that French people. So that's really interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, thank you for telling us that, Linda, because we
Yeah,
didn't have no
thanks
idea.
for explaining it. 'Cause,
I'm curious if any of the other French fans of the show,
yeah,
how they feel
well,
about it. Like, I'm
Mm.
very
but see, like,
curious.
but they're not seeing it. Most of them they can't watch it unless they
That's
bootleg
messed
it.
up.
Oh yeah, it is. It's totally messed up. But yeah, nobody like Europe, anywhere, they're not able to see this unless they're
Yeah.
bootlegging somehow. So
That's
yeah,
messed up.
it is messed up.
Especially because it takes place there.
Yeah. And it's, they're actors, they're writers, they're, I mean, like it's all these French people involved in this. So it's very odd, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why that is, but it's something to do with licensing, I'm sure, just like the other because they didn't see Dead City either, I don't believe. So that's unfortunate, Linda, but thank you for sharing that with us. And then we'll have to see, hopefully somebody replies to you and let us know what they say, because that's
seriously.
Yeah, especially since it is French writers, why they wouldn't have been conscious of that or whatever.
And let us know, Linda, because we'd love to talk about it.
Mhm.
On 1 week when we're on the show, if you get an answer, I think it'd be a good talking point.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm gonna do some research after this.
Yeah, I know.
Like search some like forums and message boards.
Yeah.
Oh no, Linda, I fully believe you. I 1,000% fully believe you, because I mean, I can only imagine if there was someone that I had looked up to in that manner, that's so revered by people in this country, and they insult them like that. I mean, it's.
But you would think like all these actors are French actors. A lot of the writers, a lot of the people involved, they're French. So why wouldn't they have said, "Hey guys, we can't do this"? Or like the writers, why would you write that in if that's the
kind
case?
of like, maybe my comparison's a little off, but it kind of reminds me of like if we had a thing, a show, because pigeons are huge in New York, naming a New York pigeon Jeter after Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Or A-Rod or something.
But again, in America, it's different because you name your pets after people that like I know plenty of people.
That. Yeah, it's a different culture thing. Yeah. So because like it wouldn't like your pets or whatever. I'll name it after my favorite football player or something. Yeah, it's not an insult here, but I think it goes back to the fact that pigeons are the bad part. It's an insult,
a little grimy and bacteria filled.
So so I hope we should. I would like to know more about this now. I'm trying to think who can I ask about this. There's got to be somebody we have a connection with that we can reach out to. So anyway, we'll keep. If you get any replies, Linda, please let us know, and we will be doing some research as well. But thank you for sharing that. So then we get to where Cadron meets Janae for the first time, which to me, I was shocked that he hadn't met her because he's so loyal. But I guess I guess not all soldiers would meet the leader of whatever, you know what I mean? Kind of being the apocalypse. I just thought they were pals or something, but I thought that was interesting.
I did like how sassy she was with him.
Yeah.
And she was like, what did she say? Am I supposed to thank you?
Yeah.
And he was like, you can thank me later. I'm like, oh, okay.
All right.
We love a sassy bitch.
Yeah. Why not? So I just thought that was very interesting, and I guess I don't know why I assumed that. I just did because he's just so loyal to the cause, or what it was called, now I forget what they're called, because they kept saying the cause, but that's probably what they had to use before it was. But now it's called it's a French word I cannot pronounce, and now I can't remember what it is. Oh gosh, I gotta look it up. Sorry.
I see why you would think that, like how they would automatically know each other, because the apocalypse, these armies are smaller. Yeah. And they're more tight knit. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it's, I don't know how you say it, but it's Power of the Living is what the movie there, so you have the Union of Hope, and then Jeanette is it's Power of the Living is what it is, but it's Pouvoir. You see that spray painted? We've seen it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Povoy or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get butchered for that. So yeah.
I know. Yeah. That's why I'm not even trying, because Linda will just be shaking her head at me in my horrible French. So I won't even try to butcher it. I don't even like saying their names because I know I'm saying them wrong.
I can only say one thing in French, and I do not want to say it on here.
Okay.
I think you know what it is.
So, So anyways, that, was interesting. And, he's like giving her the information on the American, of course, because she's definitely wants to get a hold of the American because he tore up her ship and her test subjects and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so he's ready to do her bidding and take on that task. And then, and when he walks in, though, he does glimpse into the testing. He sees
oh my
that
God,
quick.
yes.
He sees that, and we, viewers see that. So it's good that we do see more of that then. And so, after she's kind of sassy with him, then we go into the laboratory. And
I watched that scene like
what'd you think, Ryan?
Oh, I'm so sorry. My ADD is kicking in right now. I was asking Linda a question, because again, I haven't spoken French since college. But the episode's name is Paris sera toujours Paris, which I think translates to be Paris will always be Paris.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was inspired, if I'm not mistaken, it was inspired by Casablanca, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like We'll Always Have Paris.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that was one thing that I forgot to mention. I had wrote this in an article that I thought that was it kind of fitting, that title, Paris will always be Paris. Like, just, we always think of it as cultural, and we always think of it as, romantic. We always think of all these things. And I thought, with the conductor, it's like, oh yeah, Paris will always be Paris. Look, he's still doing his, music or whatever, he found a way to make that happen. So but that was, I thought that was interesting. Yeah. And Linda said, no, she said, I'm not here to yell at you all. I'm like, no, you're not, but I don't want to butcher it, because you wouldn't be the only one who would be like, that girl on that podcast cannot speak French. Why is she trying?
Like that name, that head boss girl.
Yeah.
I mean, I studied French for 8 years, and I'll tell you right now, my pronunciations are horrible.
I did for 3, so I can, like you said, I can pick out a lot of the words when they're talking, but to speak it, nah.
Yeah. I can only curse in Italian, so.
Yeah.
My step grandfather taught me well.
and Linda, it is a name of a song. The Paris Will Be Paris is actually a song.
Oh, cool. Okay.
From, because I think I read that somewhere. Yeah. So it is a song. So anyway, yes, this test subject, we see the guys in the room with him, give him injections or something. And then he just gets really aggravated and rips his chains off the wall, runs towards the glass, and blood starts squirting from his head. Everything, he bashes.
It's like a super serum almost.
Yeah, something. And they're trying to, we talked to pre-show, like, were they initially trying to find a cure? And then this is what's, we're getting the burners, we're getting whatever this is called. It's just, it's very fascinating to see, are they trying to weaponize them? Are they trying, what's going on? Did they make that mistake and think, oh, we can use these, to our advantage, kind of thing. So, so you can, it's interesting too. I feel they had to have come from America on that ship. Maybe not all, obviously not all of them, but because the ship came from America, she had the test subjects on there. So, I want an explanation on that.
Do we think that the members of the Pouvoir des Vivants, do we think that they are connected to the CRM at all?
I think so.
I think they have to.
Or they have, and Janae, she looks just like Kublek. Their demeanor and everything. I don't know how, that could just be whatever, but she has that same demeanor. She dresses like they could be sisters practically.
I was just going to say that their uniforms, aside from the CRM logo, look very similar.
Yeah. And so I don't know what that means exactly, but she just, and Kublek was, CRM trained, she was, devout to that, and she was the one doing the testing, over the, in America. And so I don't know what all these pieces mean. It's just things I'm noticing, and it could be irrelevant completely. But it's just, the ship was in America. It comes back with Daryl and these test walkers. So what does that mean? And I'm sure it'll all be explained eventually, but it's just interesting to see, what's going on and what the possibilities are.
Am I the only one who laughed when the walker hit the glass?
I didn't laugh, but
I didn't laugh. I was kind of like more shocked.
Laughed, I was like,
yeah, it was
like chunk.
Yeah, and then it just starts. Blood just goes everywhere. I mean, it's like he hits the thing, but the blood is continuing to spurt. It's not like it's like coming out of him on purpose. Not just from the impact. So, yeah. But
Pi brought up a great point. Are they finding a cure? Or maybe a quick way to kill walkers. Weaponizing them is kind of stupid, to be honest. So I think this was right before Meg joined our pre-call, but Renee and I were talking about it, and I personally, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for Renee, but I'll speak for myself, that I think it's one of two things. I think it was an attempt at scientists at weaponizing walkers to use against their enemies, or I think it was them using the walkers to try to find a cure. And what we're seeing as so far we've seen 3 types of variants, and I think that those are unintended byproducts of testing on them to try to make a cure. And I think that's why they had the stopwatch, because they were testing it to see how long it would take for it to do what it did, and I think they're trying to find a cure.
But why would they? Okay,
because
I'm trying to follow with this.
So I don't think they're gonna ever find a cure for those that have already reanimated.
I don't think they're going to. I think they're trying to. I don't think they're going to, though. I think that what they're seeing is a byproduct of them trying.
But then why did they suddenly become like superhuman or super walker?
I'm not a scientist. I don't know.
Well,
damn. Okay.
And to go back to the CRM connection, I think so. Like what Angela Kang has said, that the reason they had those walkers in season 11 was kind of just a throwback to Frank Darabont's walkers from season 1 and 2. Okay, so that was kind of just they had been mentioning people who had died. They were just trying to do like some nice,
callbacks.
Yeah, callbacks to these people and things that happened in previous seasons, early seasons, that kind of stuff. But if they were thinking ahead, they should have gave some explanation where these could have been the walkers being tested at the CRM that they let go. Because and so like that would have been such a great tie-in, because then that would tie into Daryl, because they're picking these walkers up and bringing them. So I feel like the fact that they're bringing tested walkers across this ocean, which is not an easy feat in this day, in the apocalypse, like these, how would that be a cure? Why would that be a cure? I think maybe at one time, I feel like initially that's probably because if you watch that World Beyond Coda scene, he says something, this is all your fault.
Right.
And it says something on the wall, like the dead was born here, the dead something, I forget. But I took that as more of a, that's not necessarily where the outbreak started, but where these variants started, where they were trying, because Jenner said they were holding, the French were the last holdouts trying to find a cure.
Yep.
So I think it messed up. They decided, oh, wow, we can do this and strengthen them and somehow use them to our advantage.
Which goes back to creating an army.
Yes.
Correct. I may have said it wrong, but that was the point that I was trying to make, was that I think that these variants are a result of them trying to find a cure. But once they realized that they had these variants, they tried to weaponize them.
Okay, now it all makes sense.
That's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
And then they were talking about how the ones that fell from the thing got back up.
Yeah, very quickly.
They fell out of the building and got back up.
Yep.
So, but if their head didn't get damaged, I mean, that goes back to your brain. As long as your brain, I mean, we've seen, decapitated ones, their heads are still trying to chomp, so as long as their brain isn't damaged, they can still do whatever. I mean, I guess if they
Yeah.
have enough bones left to move around, they're going to be able to move around.
I mean, look
But-
at Bicycle Girl.
Yeah,
She had only
she's
half
still-
body. She was still
she's just going.
army crawling it.
Yeah, she was going to get Rick if she could. So, so Pi saying, what advantage, what army against who? I'm sorry, but this is such an American point of view. It has nothing to do with being an American. This is warfare. People are going to use whatever they can. Okay, you are in
The
a
apocalypse.
war. Yeah, this is an
Well-
apocalypse, and you have the Union of Hope and you have the Power of the Living. They're two opposite beliefs because one believes, they have these different beliefs. So, and to your point, acidic walkers have their uses, right? So that's what they're going to do with these other ones. If they can make them stronger and use them as a, first line of defense against their enemy, they can really make some damage before the rest of the soldiers go in. So there's that has nothing to do with being an American.
Yeah, especially,
It's about
especially
Good
because
versus evil.
conflict is not exclusively an American thing. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Daryl Dixon, the show that we've seen so far. I mean, just like in America, there's conflict in France. Like, okay, you have the zombies that were at the variant at the end of World Beyond, right? It was fast and super strong. So what happens if you pen up 20 of those and then you put them in a truck, you back the truck up to your enemy's gate, ram it through the gate, drop the trailer, and let them out.
Like the
Trojan
governor
War.
did at the prison,
Yeah.
The chance,
but with super zombies. Yeah.
could you imagine if the governor did that at the prison with the variant walkers that were super fast and super strong?
I would have loved to see that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I love an alternate reality. That'd be phenomenal.
Or when like the walkers invaded the Commonwealth. I mean, granted, that was kind of a weird setup with that, but
Yeah.
still, anytime walkers invade anywhere.
Beta leading the Whisperer walkers. He's got the Whispers.
Yeah.
They're walkers. They're he's leading them, using them as weapons.
Yep.
So it's not. Just R.J. Gaines, our Texas friend who didn't make it out the last episode, he had him in his moat.
Yeah.
So that was his. I always thought that would be genius. Dig a moat around your house and fill it with walkers, and that's your first line of defense.
Yeah.
Well, who is it? Well, the governor did do something like that, similar. And in Fear the Walking Dead, they did something in season 2 with that when they threw Travis in. Wait, was his name Travis?
The Madison's husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they threw him in, he had to fight his way out.
Yeah. So I don't think it's I don't think it's an odd concept because you would think they would want to kill the undead, but obviously they feel they're
Use them to their advantage.
Yeah, exactly. If they can make them stronger.
Think about it, right? If you were in a war with somebody, let's say there's two sides, right? And one side says let's weaponize the walkers because we send them out to attack our enemy. There's no risk to your guys getting killed in the conflict. I mean, you could sit back and let the walkers do your work for them.
Yeah.
And it would be very easy to control them because even if you were worried about the walkers turning on you, all you got to do is throw something that makes a lot of noise, like a sparkler or something, throw it into your enemy's community, and let the walkers be attracted to the noise, and all of a sudden they're not worried about you, they're worried about the noise. We've seen that
It's like
time
the
and time again.
equivalent of a walker minefield.
Yep.
You walk across the minefield, boom, minefield's going to do the job for you. Get rid of the people.
Yeah.
Let the walkers cross, bite them, boom, end of the problem.
Yeah.
There has to be a level of suspension of disbelief, honestly. It's a post-apocalypse.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we just need to remember it's a series. It's a show. Somebody's making this up. And basically it's limited to someone's imagination what they come up with for this.
No, Pi, don't be.
Pi, do not be quiet.
Don't be quiet. We love opposing viewpoints. We're just putting out.
It's just a friendly debate.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and it's a point that we may have never discussed if we hadn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then we get on after the variant or the test walker. Then we see that conversation between Isabel and Daryl in her apartment. They go to her apartments because she has things there. She knows that she can bribe. They needed currency to deal with the, we find out later it's, the guy Quinn at the nightclub, but she knows she has these things stashed away in her old apartment where no one would have found them. She kind of had them hidden. And so she goes back and she finds these things and they have a really good talk. And I just absolutely loved what she said about these two. And I mentioned it. about how, like the apocalypse for some people turned out to be a blessing in disguise because they were able to escape their past traumas, escape those people who held them back, and now they can be the people they're supposed to be, the people that they truly are. And that's Isabella and Daryl. They're very, very different at this point in their lives, with her being a nun and him being an atheist or whatever. But at the same time, they both have been so deeply traumatized by their past, by people. He had Merle, she had Quinn. There was just all this stuff dragging them down, keeping them from living their full potential, keeping them from being the compassionate, the hopeful, these people that we're seeing in this series. And when she says that, about that they're both broken, or I forget now, I should have wrote it down because I used it several times. But anyway, she said that about, maybe we are the same that way, just both broken. Or the world ended, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just, I thought it was so perfect for, the explanation of these two characters. And I just love the chemistry between them. And we talked about this in pre-show. I hope to God they don't make it romantic, because they do not need to make this romantic. It just needs to be these two people who have a kind of common goal, but they have two different ways of approaching it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so they're arguing that out there, but they're dealing with it as adults and talking about it and still helping one another, not just getting mad and, flying off the handle the other direction, whatever. But I just thought it was such an amazing scene.
Agreed. By the way, I know we
talked about when they leave the apartment. Oh, go ahead. No,
I was just gonna say real quick. I do love the Last of Us vibes that we're getting with Daryl and Laurent. It's feeling very Ellie and Joel-esque.
Oh God, I've been having the biggest urge to replay the second game, but I'm trying not to. But speaking of that, they're going back to writing the show now. Now the writer strike is over, so they already hit the ground running with it. So
get busy.
As soon as the actor strike is over, they're filming.
Yeah,
we need content. Come on, let's go.
They can be ready. Yeah,
I'm so ready. Okay, anyway, back to the.
You're fine. No, that's good. It's a good thing to mention that. So then we get to a point where it finishes my being upset last week about Ami, the little girl who Isabel leaves in the street with her scooter, knowing that something crazy is going on in the world. And go home, honey, just go home, instead of making sure the little girl got home. So guess what? She's in the garden. Vines are all around, and she's dead because Isabel wouldn't take her back home.
Okay, that makes sense because I missed last week's episode. That makes so much sense.
Okay. So catch you up to speed. They went back to when the outbreak was happening. They go back to her apartment to get her stuff, and Quinn and her sister, blah blah blah. This little girl's out there on her scooter saying, "Isabel, my parents are fighting, blah blah blah, whatever." And she's like, "Honey, you just need to go home right now. It's not safe out, blah blah blah. Go home." And leaves this little tiny girl on her scooter.
How cliche is that?
But why are you laughing, Ryan?
I'm just laughing because it's
a dumb thing.
I mean, she would have been better off being like, Amy, get fucked. Go fuck yourself.
Basically, it's like, oh yeah, okay, you're complaining. Or there's your death certificate. Go ahead.
But I will say that seeing it all together now, it's a story. We see where, and Ryan brought this up last week. He's like, Renee, she was in a different time right then. She was very selfish. She didn't care, about other people,
she
blah,
evolved.
Blah. Yeah. And now we see her on the other side of that, where she's regretful because she knows she's telling Daryl, I left her,
Yeah, and you see the pain in her face.
Yeah, she is very, and I didn't want to spoil anything for everybody, but I remember seeing this clip of this walker. And when I saw that little girl, because they have that little hair, it's braided and kind of pulled up. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to block that. I'm like, no, we're not really going to see it. And we do, we see it.
But you know what gets me? It's like, we see all these walkers and they're all adults. So, like, okay, they lived the majority of their life pre-apocalypse. This little girl died during, like, the outbreak, and the outbreak's been how many years? So you just think about how much life she didn't get to live because of that. And that's really where it gets me.
Yeah. So it was, but it was, it was telling more of Isabel's story, showing us that she has changed drastically since that time. But it was still just heartbreaking because we all knew it. I mean, like, I guess it was one of those things, like, in my head, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know we would see it because we don't always see that.
They usually just
Oh yeah, this is gonna happen. We
surface.
know she's gonna not survive.
Yeah.
And then we have to see it. And that was just, it's a kid. So
at least we didn't watch them die.
Yeah,
That would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, for sure. And then that's when all these crazy walkers start coming out, and Daryl's like using the burner to burn the vines, and which was so
that was genius.
Cool.
That was pretty cool, though, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But then, like, people in the chat mentioned they're falling from the sky and they're, getting back up, and it's like, what the heck, and it was a pretty cool scene, and lots of gore, and some of those walkers really splatted and some didn't, and so it was.
I was hoping they splattered more, honestly.
Yeah.
I love like the gore and the action, so I'm like, give me more.
Yeah. Yep. And so then that's when they reunite back with Laurent, Sylvie, and Fayu, and start heading into the catacombs, which was really cool. I wish we would have seen more of that, but that was really cool because they kept several of the actors, when they did interviews, said that we filmed in the catacombs, and I think Norma Reedus had said it too. So it was like I expected to see more of it, but it was still really cool, and for Fayu to kind of explain for people that maybe didn't know what that was, And so he gave a little history on that, but he also says we've survived. I loved how he said that we survived many apocalypses. We'll survive this one too. No, and so I thought that was really cool that he added that in there.
It made me really want to go reread the Cask of Amontillado, because it takes place like by Edgar Allan Poe. They cross through like the catacombs and everything.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
so there's like catacombs are heavily mentioned in that story.
I never read it, but I know that you.
Oh my god, highly recommend it. So I think because you're loving this show, I think you'll like it.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah. So what do you think of the catacombs, Ryan?
I loved it. For me, one of the things that I like is on my bucket list is for travel is to go to Paris and actually like see some of the historical stuff, including the catacombs, like that. Like, I just think that's so cool. I don't know. I know it's creepy and macabre, but like,
Oh, I would, yeah.
Oh, horrible! Don't go there.
Okay, so Linda said she wasn't in a street; she was inside. No, she was on the street, Linda. That's where they pulled in the car when he pulled in. They showed his car, and he pulled into the entrance of the apartments, and she was out on the street where they drove from. So she was on the street. So, I mean, that's where he drove right into there. Then she was outside of where the car was parked.
Yeah, almost on the sidewalk or whatever it was. Yeah,
it wasn't in the courtyard because the courtyard was in front of the car. She was behind the car where they pulled in from the street. But regardless, I mean, she still let her go like that. So, but yeah, it was, Then she said, don't go to the catacombs. Horrible. Don't go there. Skeletons everywhere. And that's what we want to see, Linda.
I kind of want to go even more now.
Because we're weird that way.
Yes, we are.
She's trying to ward us off, and we're all like, okay, let's get the flights booked.
Let's just go to New Orleans in the meantime. All those spooky tours. We'll do that in the meantime.
Yeah, or Savannah. Savannah's got a bunch of them too. They've got a bunch of those tours. We did one. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was for your daughter's birthday, right?
Yeah. So, there's.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to Savannah then.
And she said she's French and doesn't want to go there. So there's your first person opinion there.
We're stupid Americans. Of course we're gonna go. Have you not seen horror movies with Americans? We do the dumbest things. We go upstairs instead of running out of the house.
You ever see that? I forgot what commercial, what company that commercial is for, but they make fun of like people in the horror movies. Geico, yeah.
Yes, I love that. And it's almost Spooktober, so we're gonna see them again.
Yeah. We could just get in the car and drive off. No, let's go hide in that shed.
Full of machetes. What was I gonna say? I know, like, kind of jumping ahead. When they get to the nightclub, I always find it fascinating in all these like post-apocalyptic shows when you see the adults explaining to the kids stuff that they used to have prior to the outbreak.
Yeah.
Like explaining like, oh, it's a nightclub. We used to have a lot of these. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I thought it was cool just because it's this normal, like it's I like it's such an unapocalypse thing to see, because it was Cirque du Soleil going on there. You got this and singing. It was
almost
so
like
cool.
A Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of The Last of Us when Ellie was talking to Joel and he was explaining different things that happened before the outbreak.
Like airplanes.
Yeah, exactly. And she was like, it just like stays in the sky.
Yeah, like how?
You know, it's like our civilization got set back like 300 years. Like what?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we meet Quinn again, and we already had our thing. Well, you didn't watch the last episode, Meg, so you didn't.
No, I need to.
So he was what you probably kind of understood then from that was that he was Isabel's boyfriend.
Right, I got that
all
vibe.
But like he was kind of a jerk, and you could just kind of tell that it wasn't the best kind of boyfriend, and somehow he has a handgun. And it's like, okay, don't think he has that legally, and so like, what's going on with him? So you kind of had your kind of wondered about him anyway. And then he wants to leave. So Isabel's sister confides that she's pregnant, and he wants to leave her, which now knowing what we know was like even crappier. No, it was even crappier of him. I mean, that's his baby, and he wants to leave her. Huh?
And he knew it.
Well, he had to. Yeah, he absolutely knew it, and he wanted to leave his pregnant girlfriend's sister. That the whole whatever going on there.
Imagine that family.
Yeah,
tree,
exactly.
Right?
But I mean, like, it just shows you his his character to be willing to do that. It's like, are you kidding me? But anyway, so that was kind of what happened there. Then Isabel grabs his keys, her and Lily get in the car, and they take off. So they leave him, and that's why he was like, oh, it's interesting to see you after all this time, all these years or whatever.
So I did hear a couple of things about last week's episode, because Lily died giving birth. Yeah, they talked about that. Lily died giving birth.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the baby didn't survive, right?
No,
the baby. That was Lauren. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So, and Isabel, was there, and that they were in the Abbey and all that kind of stuff. And we also pointed out how interesting it was that we were very early in the outbreak, but the nuns knew when she was reanimating, they knew to belt her down.
Mm-hmm.
So that we all thought that was very interesting. We're like, how did they know to do that early in the apocalypse? But they knew, and they did.
But then again, France was the last to fall, so.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the last to fall. It was the last to lose communication.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like some of those things are the
verbiage.
Yeah, because we don't know for sure if they felt, but we do know they lost communication. Anyway.
We're never going to get a full answer.
Like their version of the CDC was the last to fall, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. To last to anyway. And then I lost what I was going to say about the baby. But anyway, we just thought that was interesting that they knew. I mean, because it couldn't have been terribly long from when they left Quinn to where they got to the Abbey and she had the baby. They couldn't have been a terribly long time, but I suppose long enough because, we don't know the timeline. But anyways, we just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, so that's how they ended up at the Abbey because of that. But so then she's talking to Quinn, and that's when Quinn reveals, oh, that's Lily's baby. Oh, son, well, that's my son. And
my jaw dropped.
That's how she finds that out. And we see Quinn, how he like slices that guy's nose, and he's very, all this, just kind of giving us more, letting us know what he's all about.
My very first thought when I saw him slice the nose, I was like, got your nose.
That's funny.
My head was not in the right space watching this episode, as you can tell.
I guess you're just laughing it up.
When he did that, it reminded me a lot of Negan from like season 6, season 7.
Oh, like burning people's faces.
Just like how like what did I tell you? What happens when you break the rules?
Yeah,
and then he like he disfigures him essentially.
Yeah.
That's gonna scar. He got cut deep. That's gonna scar. So it's like it's. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We've been talking for an hour, and I'm shocked that we haven't mentioned this. Daryl said the F word twice.
Oh, he said it so many times in this. I don't know how that's happening.
I know. I'm just like,
but
how were they getting away with it?
Walking Dead is in the rated R era.
Yeah. But yes, that's very true. I've noticed that's been quite the.
Remember how they used to be allowed like once or twice in the entire season?
Yeah.
Like twice in an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit.
Yeah, so I don't know what's up with that, but yeah. And then, of course, since they're in the nightclub, that's where we see the girl give Laurent the little necklace and stuff,
Yes.
so that was, just kind of important to him and things, a memento kind of thing or whatever. And then is that when? Yeah, that's when they have the conversation. Then Daryl and Isabel go talk to Quinn, and basically he gives them an ultimatum. He's like, I'll help Daryl if you and Laurent stay with me. And Daryl's like, screw that, no.
Yeah.
And which doesn't make Isabel happy. She gets very upset about it. I think she just feels she can handle herself or whatever, but she was not happy that Daryl stepped in. And that's when she tells him, I don't need it. I need you to help me. I didn't need a hero, kind of thing. So
not a damsel in distress type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously she's done a lot on her own, but I mean, Quinn seems to be a very different breed of guy or whatever, I guess. I don't know. So
I don't trust him. He seems so snaky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just slimy and especially in the when we look back at what he did pre-outbreak or at the onset of it, he was just gonna leave this pregnant girl who he knew was pregnant with his child. He was just gonna leave her at wherever, and I mean, of course he was just doing that so he didn't get in trouble with Isabel. But it's just like he just seems slimy.
He also looked relieved when Isabel told him that Lily was dead.
Yeah,
yeah.
If you look at his face, he looked relieved.
Yeah,
and I'm like, are you relieved because you committed an indiscretion with your girlfriend's sister? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, I don't know. That was weird.
I mean, he was just trying to keep it in the family.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Sister wives. One thing I really hope they don't push, which it seems like they are, and I really hope they don't, is the supernatural or spiritual side of the show. And what I mean by that is the fact that Laurent is the Messiah. Like, he is the chosen one. You are the chosen one, Anakin. Like shit like that. Like, I know that they've introduced supernatural aspects to The Walking Dead before. But, like, the point of The Walking Dead is it's supposed to be as close to reality as possible. And it's just, I don't know. I hope they don't be like, well, Laurent can predict the future. Or he can see things he's not supposed to see. Like, I hope they don't go that route with it.
Sorry, I was answering. I'm responding to one of the chat people here.
I saw Pie's comment. Meg, no! I'm gonna say the cheesy dumb shit. You know this.
What do you guys think, though?
I don't.
Well, you have to say what you said again because I was typing. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I really hope they don't push the supernatural or spiritual side of things on the show. And it seems like they are. Like, Laurent is the Messiah. He is the chosen one. Blah, 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 blah. And, he quoted Judith word for word. How did he know that? And
So what do you want them to do with it?
I don't know. I
want them to push the spiritual side. I think that's fantastic. It's I don't want them to say he's the cure. He's Ellie. I mean that. I don't want to see.
I don't want to be the cure either. I would much rather.
What do you want him to be?
I don't know. I don't know.
I either want them to find out it's not true and he's not this Messiah, or I want them to push it. It's either one of the other. I'm okay with. See, the thing is, if he wanted to be just a regular kid, then season 1 was a complete waste. So then what's the point in season 2? So I feel like they have to push it.
Well, I just feel like Messiah doesn't necessarily mean that he is. Messiah is a leader, and that's what they said, that he's what was initially said was that he will lead the revival of humanity.
Yeah.
So whatever that means, it doesn't necessarily,
or the chosen one. Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't mean that. I don't know. I guess I just have a different idea of what that could be. It doesn't necessarily. I mean, I'm trying to articulate it, but it's not working. But like
French Judith.
No, nothing like that. Like something on. I mean, in throughout history, there's always just certain people who have something that people follow them.
That's fair.
And you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be Jesus, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, that like that, but it could be just someone who has something inside them that makes other people want to follow them for what, you know, whatever purpose that is. And he obviously has some, you know, there are some things that, you know, he's doing and saying that are very, you know, there's something there, you know, whatever it is. I don't know what that is.
I'm okay with him being a leader. I just don't,
yeah.
I don't know how I feel about like him having a sixth sense. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that's, I don't know.
Well, then, you know, I kind of get what like Renee's saying, and I'm kind of going to throw it back a little bit to when he was the only person able to kind of console that woman. Maybe he just had that aura, I guess we could say, and there's that very calming vibe that she was like, okay, I can kind of open up a little bit. Like that's it kind of goes back to that.
I don't know. Maybe I'll feel differently as it progresses. I'm not saying I'm opposed to them doing it. I just, at this current moment, I don't know how I feel about it, I should say. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I
go back to what the monk says, that he sees him fulfill, or something about him fulfilling a prophecy. We don't know what that prophecy is. You know, maybe, you know, like maybe he has some kind of insight how to do, you know, to do something with a, you know, towards a cure, towards a, you know, where, you know, the revival of humanity, you know, it can play out many different ways, you know. And so I guess I see him more of as some sort of a leader with this insight that he has, that he's able to, I don't know if it's his intelligence where he can formulate something, or, you know, I mean,
that I'm okay with, as long as it's something that's done with a level of realism. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, well, you say that, but then you have people, okay, so I'll take this side of it. Yeah. So people who are religious and have that belief, that's real to them.
Fair. Fair. I'm not arguing that, but like my thing is like, my spirituality is is complex. Like, you know, it is what it is. I had a moment in my 20s where any 20-something-year-old that I didn't have a faith. I didn't. I grew up having a faith. I lost it in my 20s. I'm starting to regain it, but at the same time, it's like, I'm also a very facts type of person. I'm a very scientific, like, I'm not a scientist, Meg, but I'm a scientific formulated person. Like that, like. There has how are they gonna do that? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But you know, I like there to be facts, right? So like when I was a paranormal investigator, I believed in the afterlife. I believed in the paranormal, but I didn't jump to conclusions. I didn't see an orb and assume it was a spirit. But when I had a disembodied voice that I recorded, that's evidence of something. And so I like there to be realism with things. I don't like it to just be like, nope, he can see the future. We're not going to explain anything about how, or, you know, he just knows the future. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions. He just does. I want there to be realism to it. I'll get off my soapbox now. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. That's the fun of doing this, is just all our different opinions and taking apart. I mean, and we could all be completely off our rockers here and not even be close to what's going to end up happening. But it's just fun to have those discussions, and I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love playing the devil's advocate and taking both sides. Like, okay, guys, this is what but guess what? It could be this also. You know.
Yeah.
It's just fun to speculate. I do think there's something special about Laurent.
Yep.
I don't know. Again, whether it's even just the fact that they're saying that he is, that's giving everyone hope, because a lot of times that's all that, you know. True. She said that, Isabel said that to Daryl at the beginning. She said, if I'm wrong, you're not out anything, but if I, you know, why not bet on hope?
Yep.
You know? And that's the thing. Sometimes it is just this figurehead to inspire the hope, to let people, you know, maybe try a little harder. I'm in the apocalypse, people are going to be just like, I'm done. This is ridiculous. I don't know what to do next. These people, you know, I'm being chased after these undead. They're going to eat me. I'm just whatever. I'm giving up, kind of thing. But if you have hope, it can inspire you to do something else, something more.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
My only hope, I am open to, I love everything you guys said. I only hope that this doesn't turn into a typical escort mission. We've seen it happen time and time again, not just within The Walking Dead, but across entertainment in general. And that's the one thing I'm hoping does not happen, because I am
Greg
so
Nicotero,
tired.
Yeah, so Greg Nicotero, when The Last of Us came out, he was like, guys, because it's this leading man with a child taking that, you know. But then in his interview, you know, like he kind of joked with everybody, like, oh no, you know, kind of thing. And they were already way into it. There was no changing anything. But he did say that it's vastly different. You know, there are similarities.
Thank God.
And that's what he has said. So I'm holding, there's my hope, is that Greg Nicotero isn't lying to me. That he's telling us
the trope is just so overdone.
It is. And
yeah.
I completely understand what you're saying. And I feel like it's going to be different, because this series already is so different than anything.
It is.
You know, and I know, you know, everybody, I mean, I said it. I was not looking forward to this. And Daryl has always been my favorite. And I was really like, how are they doing this series? And I love it. And it's not even just Daryl. I mean, I like that Daryl is the lead. I like that Norman Reedus is getting to kind of shine in this, where he's always been in the shadows with the Negans and the Ricks and all this kind of stuff. And that's was his place in that series. It was fine. That's where he was supposed to be. But this is his series, and he's getting that opportunity to show this other side of Daryl, to show, you know, just all these qualities that we all know Daryl had. It just, he didn't always, they just weren't showcased as much because he wasn't the lead, you know?
Yeah.
So, but besides the Daryl aspect, you know, you've got these new actors. I mean, I just love Laurent. I think he's just a fascinating little kid. I just love his brain, how he's just so smart and says all these things and knows the rivets and the Eiffel, you know, these, you know, this information.
50-year-old man.
Yeah. I mean, he's studied, that's all he's done is read books and things, you know, at the Abbey. That's, I mean, what else would he have done, you know? So, you know, and even like Sylvie, you know, we're starting to see a little bit of character development. She met the guy at the, you know, at the Fayou's community. So that's just a cute little thing. And then Isabel, I just think she's fabulous. You know, I just think she's just such a breath of fresh air in this, you know, in this series. And, and if I said Daryl gets a chance to speak in full sentences, maybe by season 2 he stops muttering. I doubt he ever stops muttering, but I did make the comment that I think we've heard Daryl in like the first 2 episodes, we've heard Daryl talk more than the whole 11 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
you're right.
And not just the grunt or whatever.
Yeah, because
we heard Daryl talking. Him. What was that?
Now the spotlight's on him, so he has to talk.
Yeah,
it's about time.
So I don't know. I just you know, I think, I don't know. I'm excited to see we only have 3 episodes, right? This is 3 episodes left in the season, and I feel like we'll get a I feel like we'll get a it'll be a cliffhanger. I just bet, because they knew they were doing this and they started filming immediately.
Yeah,
there was really not much time. I think Norman Reedus went to Costa Rica and then boom, they were back filming. You know, it was like a quick little thing, you know. So I feel like there's going to be a significant cliffhanger. And then, you know, then we'll get season 2, which hopefully won't be terribly long. I don't know. They had been working on it. I mean, they had been filming for several months before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, or I guess I think it was several months. But anyway, to finish out this episode, then we saw Laurent had overheard the conversation between Daryl and Isabel about his parentage and all that stuff, and he was very angry, understandably.
I hate you both.
Yeah, you know,
okay,
typical
that's
teenager.
a grind my gut moment.
Yeah,
because he's like, I hate you both. Boom, chaos. How cliche can we get?
Yeah. So then Cadron and his Gaiers came and they show up, and then him and Daryl have their fight, which I was so excited about, because the actor during his little character introduction said something about everyone's going to look at me as the villain. And he said something about Norman, and Norman Reedus punches me a lot or something like that. You know, I forget exactly how he worded it. So I was excited to see. I thought, oh, good, they're going to have a confrontation for sure. So that was great. And then, you know, the guys start shooting and Cadron gives away and Daryl stands up and boom, he falls into a building. And that's where it is.
I'm calling it now. I definitely agree with you. There's going to be a cliffhanger at the end of the season. I think it's going to heavily involve Isabel. I don't know why.
Yeah, it sounds good. I think, yeah.
And she's my favorite so far in this show. So I'm like,
And that would be something like a cliffhanger with her would ensure Daryl sticking around to fix or whatever. Yeah, and that kind of thing.
I think Laurent's gonna like be in danger or something, and she's gonna like swoop in, like, oh, let it be me instead, and that's gonna throw her into a cliffhanger.
Linda, I guess yes, I agree that. I'm sorry, I'm reading Linda. She says something about, he knows Isabel's his aunt. So I don't know. I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, he's aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows that Isabel is his aunt. Yeah. So anyway, he does know that, but so maybe she missed that or something, but yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I know she said about feel his link that he has with Isabel. Well, I think he's always felt it, but he didn't know of it until the picture and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because she gave him that picture.
So my DVR cut out. I didn't get to see the preview for next week. Fill me in.
So they're looking, besides Daryl, right ahead of Daryl's fight, she couldn't find Laurent, and so they're going to be searching for Laurent. They're going to meet up with Quinn again, and there's a lot of action in that little clip, just that couple minutes. So it is an action, like I shared. I've watched the episode. It's an action-packed episode. Fans of Daryl are going to love some, there's good action there. I don't feel like I've only watched it once, and I usually watch it, several times before I do my writing or podcast or anything, but I don't feel like we learn nearly as much. Like, this was just so packed full of stuff, because I still feel like we missed things. I'm like, what else was there?
This was very educational.
It was such a great episode because there was so much, but I don't feel like, and it was, I guess I didn't pay attention to how long this episode was. The next one's only like, I think it's like because like the first two were like an hour, and I think the last one might be, but these are like 40 some minutes, so not
with commercials. This was an hour 10.
Yeah, so about 40 something. Yeah. And so I think the next one's about that 40-minute in there too. So it really seems short. Like, I was surprised it was already over. I was like, oh, what? So
I mean, at the same point, we hope it to be longer, but they can't always pull off the longer episodes.
Yeah. So I believe maybe the last two again are, because like the first two were like an hour runtime, and I think the last one or two are as well. Anyway, I don't remember exactly. So but the middle one,
my two favorite kinds of episodes are always pre-apocalyptic and action-packed. So I feel like I'm gonna be really satisfied with this one.
It's like I said, you don't learn a lot of information like we did in this one, but it's a great episode, and good stuff. So Oh, and then Pi just mentioned how Lily and Quinn are both on the blonde side, but Laurent's hair is very dark, and casting accident, or maybe Quinn isn't the dad after all. I think Lily's hair was dyed. If you looked at her roots, I think she was. I think she had dark hair, but she, if you look back, I'm pretty sure she had dark roots.
But also sometimes they don't always get the hair color from their direct parents. My cousin, he's brunette, she's blonde, their kid is a redhead.
That's how my brother, brother and his wife are medium hair, and their son's a redhead because her dad is. So it's crazy how that works.
Same with eye color. My parents are both brown eyed, and I have blue eyes. My sister has hazel. I mean, it's
and she said that too. She knows that. She was just kind of mentioning it, I think. So anyway, it was I love this episode. I thought this one was really good. So this was number 3, 4, and someone that first reviewed, that I usually read their reviews, and I can't remember which person. I could read a lot of them, but anyway, one of the people had said that episode 2 and episode 5 were their favorites, and I kind of leaned towards what that at that time when I was reading it. Like I said, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. So I'm excited for episode 5 because they liked it so much. I think they thought 5 was the best maybe of the season. So
that's cool.
Of course, episode 5 is the one. If we keep our Thursday night trend, I can't talk about it because I'll be at Comic-Con.
Oh, So we'll have to. We'll figure it out, but so so that kind of wraps the episode and
absolutely
segues into the next one, and and Linda liked it all except the Zuzu pigeon scene, so we understand.
We appreciate how
Well,
passionate
now we
you are,
do.
Linda.
Yeah, and it's good to have, it really, and it is so good to have Linda,
Yeah.
someone who works there, like to give us this insight that we would never know, so it's really fun. We really enjoyed her input and appreciate that she was able to be on, because I know it doesn't always work on Thursday nights for her.
Yeah.
So it's what, 2 o'clock in the morning there. So we really appreciate both her and Pi coming because
Seriously, thank you guys.
it is crazy early morning for them, but yeah.
And hopefully a lot drier there than it is over here. We've needed
Drier.
Noah's Ark.
We're getting
past
slammed with rainstorms.
Yeah. Yesterday was the only sunny day in over a week.
Yeah.
Oh wow. We had like a little bit of rain and then a little sprinkle the next day, and then today like I wore a tank top because I was going to be working, cleaning, moving, doing all this stuff, but I could have probably had a jacket on if I wasn't doing all that physical work because it was a little cool for us. Yeah. So
I actually had to put my heat on yesterday because it got down to be like 65 in my house. But by like Sunday, it's going to be 70. So I'm like very like rarely using it, only when it gets too cold.
When I left work the other morning, it was 42 degrees at 7 a.m.
Okay, you're also in New York where it's a lot colder. I at least have the beach right here to kind of warm me up.
Yep. We had that tropical storm that just passed by, which is what we got all that rain from and all the wind from.
Yeah, we had we've actually had, like, I guess it's been windy because all of my decorations in my yard are wiggling around. Our neighbor called and said, "Hey, one of your guys fell over."
By the way, your house looks dope as usual.
Oh, I love it. And this year is so fun because we don't have all the construction going on.
Yeah.
So it was like I could put everything where I wanted it, and I was very excited. So I'm gearing up for those trick-or-treaters in a month, but
I'll be trick-or-treating myself because I don't get trick-or-treaters where I live.
Yeah. See, that's my thing. We never have. This is the first time Josh and I have been together for 30 years. And this is the first time we've been able to have trick-or-treater, or last year was the first time. And Halloween's my favorite. So that's why I decorate so early, because if everyone can decorate 2 months for Christmas, I can do it for Halloween.
Rightfully so.
So
I used to.
I'm sorry. No, you go, Meg.
No, I was gonna say I used to love it. My mom and I used to sit outside our front because we used to live in a townhouse. So it was the row of houses. We used to just sit out. We used to order pizza and just hand out all the candy. I move here and they're like 4 condos to a unit. So like all close together. In 6 years, I've gotten 4 kids, and that was the first year I moved in. Because like I don't know about over where you guys are. Trunk or treat is a huge thing here.
Yeah, they do those here too.
Okay, so I feel like that's where like all the kids are going, and the next town over, they trick or treat the night before because Halloween is their parade.
Oh, fun!
A lot of kids go to the town over the night before, and they just don't do anything on Halloween.
Well, we live in a very tiny town, but I don't know why all these people come to our town for Halloween. We had over 200 trick-or-treaters last year.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
I mean, I want to say 225, 230, something like that. Yeah.
You have our addresses. We could trick or treat virtually.
Right.
We like candy.
Yeah, we had a traffic jam out in front of our house because they do trailers. Like they'll have a pickup truck with the flatbed trailer and everybody's sitting on that, or like the golf carts and things. And
I miss the golf carts down there. It was so fun zipping.
Yeah.
Until it died and we had to walk half mile back.
Yeah. I wasn't a part of that, so I'm glad
Ryan and Chris were talking about Cocaine Bear the whole time.
Yep.
And I was falling behind, so I'm like, I have the key though, so if I die.
Yeah.
It's true.
Good times.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up tonight.
Yeah. I think that's all she wrote.
Yeah. So we should be back next week as long as everything goes our way, which doesn't always, but
we roll the punches.
It's right. So just watch, socials for the information, and we'll let you know. And thanks for Linda and Pi for hanging in the whole time with us, because we know it's ungodly early there.
Absolutely. You guys are the real MVPs.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you to everyone that's listening or listens afterwards or whatever. So
absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Chris and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Whoa, hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry and subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime